Hello, my name is Alison, and I have a lot to say about movies. From lists and stories to celebrities I love to look at and those who drive me crazy. Join me as I talk about whatever's on my mind at the moment. Welcome to Say Anything with Alison. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Say Anything with Alison. I'm your host, Alison. Today, I wanted to discuss. You guys are probably going to say, why are you talking about this movie months after it came out? But that's okay. Today, I wanted to discuss the big summer blockbuster that came out this year, the sequel to the phenomenal 1986 movie Top Gun. I'm talking about Top Gun Maverick, which was wrapped in a bow and given to us 36 years later, what felt like it would never, ever come out, especially with like all the rumors and then the setbacks with COVID and everything. We thought we would never get it, but it arrived this year over the summer. And it was probably one of the best sequels that I've ever seen, in my opinion. And I just wanted to talk to you about that today. And if you haven't seen it, I want to encourage you to see it. If you have and you were like, nah, it was okay, Top Gun was better, I hear you and I understand. But hopefully after this, I can change your mind. But I just kind of wanted to break down why I think that Top Gun Maverick was such a phenomenal movie. It's pretty much the definition of what I would consider a perfect sequel to be. And maybe talk about some points as to why I think it actually is a good standalone film when you don't even need the original. So, one of the reasons why this movie was so good is because of the love and the time and effort that Tom Cruise put into making this film. This is clearly one of his babies, and it was just written all over the movie. He didn't want it to go to streaming services. In the beginning of the movie, if you went to see it at the theaters, it might even be if you rented it or if you bought it streaming. I have it, but I don't actually remember if he came out in the beginning. But anyways, in the movies, he walks out. He thanks everybody for being a part of the experience and thank you for being patient. He talks about, how long this took to put together and how many talented people came together to make this film. And he basically says that it was made for us, the audience, to experience in a biggest and loudest screen as possible. So you could tell that he is just so excited for everybody to see this movie. And it's apparent. From the moment this movie started, the opening, it was the exact same movie. And a lot of people might say, well, that's lame. That's a cop-out. I don't think so. I was immediately brought back to Top Gun. The sounds, Kenny Loggins, you're playing Danger Zone. It's shot for shot. And even how it kind of looked a little gritty, the theme song to Top Gun playing before Danger Zone started, it was just, I was like, holy crap, this is the same movie. And I just thought that was so cool that they did that. And I don't know, I don't understand why people might think that that's lame, that it should have had its own opening, because I just thought that they put that in for the fans. And the fact that my young child, who had never experienced Top Gun in the theater and only watched it at home, knew from the moment that Maverick started, he was like, wait, this is like the first movie. Like, he got it. And the whole opening scene just gave me chills, and I loved every minute of it. So I knew I was in for a great, great ride. Another reason why this makes it such a good and memorable sequel is they take familiar scenes and they slightly changed them to make it feel more of their own, Maverick's own. I'm just going to refer to Top Gun Maverick as Maverick. For example, the piano scene. So we're all familiar with the iconic piano scene with Goose singing Great Balls of Fire. And now we have Rooster, his son, on the piano, and he's singing a different song. So at first I was like, they're not going to redo like the same song. That might be too much. But no, they didn't. He did a different song, and it was just spinning it a little bit on its axis. We didn't have a beach volleyball scene. Instead, we have the class playing football. And it was just all these little things that were like great nods to the iconic moments from the first movie, but they just made it their own. And I appreciated it. Even the scene, I got chills in this scene too. Instead of Kelly McGillis's character walking up outside in the outdoor classroom, walking up to teach the kids. I'm sorry, not the kids. They're kids in the new movie. To teach the guys that she had just met the night before. It was now Maverick walking up to teach the kids that they had just kind of like roasted him the night before. He had to pay for everybody's drink tab. So I don't know. It was just the amount of times I've seen Top Gun. It was just so refreshing to see them bring in these iconic scenes from the first movie. Like, we didn't forget about this. We want to address this and kind of add our new little spin on it in this movie. And I loved it. I don't think that the topless beach football scene was cheap. I don't know. It was like a family outing, like a bonding team exercise that they did. I don't know. I don't have any problem with it whatsoever. Everybody should wear jeans on the beach and playing sports, I guess. All the fight scenes and, the flying scenes, they were phenomenal. And I know that I've read a lot of reviews where people have talked about, how many hours the cast had to put in. They actually had to train and get certified because Tom really does take this, seriously. And I expected a lot of flight scenes, but I didn't expect as many, if that makes any sense. I know it's a movie about fighter jets, but there was just so many, and I loved it. I loved watching him teach the kids and, and getting them and saying, you're dead. I don't know, that everything was just so much fun. It also provided us with new characters. So that's one reason why I think that it could stand alone as its own film. Obviously you should see the first one so you understand the character of Maverick and Iceman and his relationships between those two as well as Goose. But it's not necessary, right? It's not absolutely needed. You can watch this film and kind of get that, his best friend died. They show that clip, right? They show how Goose died, and he talks about Goose's mom and the promise he made. And you can kind of figure out that there's kind of bad blood between Goose's son Rooster and Maverick, and this is why. And you can even kind of get a sense as to they had a weird relationship as far as Maverick and Iceman go. And obviously they show, an old picture of everybody. So that Iceman was, this big shot before he got sick. So it's easy to say that I guess you could watch this not having seen the first one. Having them pick a bunch of new characters, I mean, pretty much the entire cast was new, right? That was a big risk, but it's a risk that paid off because everybody had stellar performances. Even John Hamm, who I love John Hamm so much, he wasn't the best in this movie, but it wasn't his fault. It was the role. Like, he was that douchey guy and he played it well. I just know that John Hamm's better than that. To me anyways. All the kids, I don't know why I'm calling them kids because they're not, they're adults, but all the kids that are going that were called up for this mission, they're just awesome. And I love their names, that are all, one of them's name is Hangman. I thought that was cool. And one of them's just Bob, and their call signs. I don't know. I just thought was really neat. Obviously we have better cinematography in this film. It gives you the chills and the shivers when you see them up there, and you can see the risks they're taking and the G forces and how they pass out. It's just the cinematography has just, gone leaps and bounds in 36 years. It was just on point the entire time. I didn't see it in an IMAX, and I'm sure the people who went and saw it IMAX were just in awe of the aerial shots. I really, really enjoyed how they brought Iceman back. Val Kilmer, as most people know, is not well. He has the voice box. So that was him talking at the end when he finally, talks to Maverick. But to see him, that was rough, right? So he looks so bad. He just looks so much older. I mean, when you put Val Kilmer and Tom Cruise in the same screen and same shot, and you're like, wow, like what? He looks like he's 20, 30 years older than him. But I really, really liked how they brought him in. It was apparent that they have become best friends over the years, a mentor. It helped provide the much needed closure to this franchise, right? So I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure they're not making a third movie, right? We don't need that. We needed closure to this franchise. And the scene with Maverick and Iceman basically provided that with us. He told Maverick he needs to let it go. He needs to let go. And that's just been referenced throughout all the movies. Let go of Goose's death. Let go with the notion and the acceptance that you're just not this wild guy anymore. You need to settle down. You need to figure out what you want to do for the rest of your career. Reconcile with Goose's son, Rooster. Maverick has a lot of demons from Goose's death. So the fact that Iceman is giving him that advice and he finally accepts it, and, they hug and he understands what he's telling him, finally Iceman is getting through to him. It just allowed that to just wrap it up in a bow for us, I feel. And I feel that we needed that. So there was a couple of characters that helped him with that closure. And I think even Penny, was that the Colonel's daughter? I don't know. So people were like, okay, Kelly McGillis isn't coming back because she wasn't asked. So we bring in Penny, and a lot of people, were like, I don't know who Penny is. She wasn't in the first movie, and she wasn't, but she was referenced in the original because I think she was a captain or a colonel's. I don't know what they call people in the Air Force and the Navy and the Army, but I'm going to call it the Colonel because that sounds badass. So I believe she was the Colonel's daughter, and she was referenced, but they brought her back as Maverick's love interest. I thought she did good. I like the little nods. I think she was living in the same house as Kelly McGillis's character, but she drove the same type of car. It wasn't the same car, but she drove the same, make of car as Kelly McGillis's character did. And so that was kind of cool. There was just a couple things that they brought in that was a nice little nod to the first movie. So I liked her. I mean, she's not the best actress, and she's looking kind of old too, but it worked. Let's face it. Anybody who is in a scene or a movie with Tom Cruise is going to look older than they are because he just doesn't age. I don't know if it's the Scientology pills or what, but the man doesn't age. He looks great. Yeah. So This film just maintained the spirit of the original, the spirit of Tony Scott's film. I think that the new director did a phenomenal job. It's an overall fun movie. I also liked how it seemed like it was going to end, and then it kind of kept going in another direction. When they had to eject from their jet and they ended up over in the snow. I mean, I'm not spoiling anything for you. I'm not gonna ruin anything for you, but just when you think the movie's over, it kind of adds another 35 minutes. And I thought that was good. I liked that. I enjoyed it a lot. I've seen this movie 3 times, and every time I see something new and kind of like a little nod to the original, or just something that I didn't catch with the cinematography. And I loved it. This movie is about grief, forgiveness, second chances, being a role model to other people and leaving your legacy to the next generation. And that includes leaving the legacy of the Top Gun franchise to new fans. I know we've talked about this before, I think on the podcast when we talked about Tom Cruise films, is I can only imagine being a young boy going to see Top Gun in the theater. I'm sure, the second they left the theater, every boy is, driving around in the car or his bicycle wanting to be a pilot. And I hope that this new movie, it encourages little boys and girls to want to do that. And I just think it was overall one of the best sequels I've ever seen. I think it's hands down as close to a perfect sequel as we could have gotten. There's not many sequels that have what this has, and has left me as happy and satisfied with the wait of how many years we've waited for this. So yeah, I'm so glad this movie had a big turnout and it made so much money, and I didn't read many bad reviews. I'm sure there's people who don't think it's as good. I wildly disagree. If you guys think the first one was better, that's great. Let me know. Let me know what you had problems with in this movie. Did you think that certain things were cheesy? Do you think it wasn't a perfect sequel? What could have been better? And what was a perfect sequel? Do tell. So let me know in the comments. And if you haven't seen the movie, go see it. Oh, you're not going to go see it because it's not in the theaters, but go rent it. I'm sure it's going to be streaming for free somewhere. If not, I'm sure it's at Redbox, or you can buy it digitally. Buy it. It's so good. So good. Even the Lady Gaga song, which won't hold a candle to Berlin's song, Take My Breath Away, but it was good. It wasn't bad. So I really have nothing bad to say about this movie, and I couldn't be happier with how it turned out. And I hope that it makes millions and millions more I was going to say in rentals. I'm old, in streaming and people buying it digitally and owning a copy for themselves. And I will make sure that I watch it over and over again with my son because he loves it. And it's just one of those movies that we can both bond over and brings us joy. So that's it for me. I will return soon with a new list or a new topic. I didn't really do a list this time. That's cool. It was just kind of me talking, but don't be worried. I'll be back with a list because I heart lists. So I will talk to you guys later. Make sure you check out our YouTube page and our upcoming podcast episodes that we're recording and everything we did in the past. We had a lot of fun over October. We had a lot of cool stuff. So check it out and keep celebrating cinema. Talk to you later. Bye.